Hey friends, it's Frank. I wanted to tell you that the brand new podcast that we have just unveiled is now live. It is the Insurgents Podcast, and it is unlike any other podcast I have created thus far. First, it's all about the gospel of the kingdom, touching on areas that go beyond my signature book, Insurgents Reclaiming the Gospel of the Kingdom. And second, and this is what makes it unique, I have a partner for the episodes, a conversational partner. I actually have two. One is a pastor who is preaching the gospel of the kingdom currently to his congregation. The second is a theologian who resonates with the message and has shared aspects of it himself. But this is a podcast you will not want to miss. The Insurgents Podcast. And if you go to theinsurgents.net, theinsurgents.net, you will see all the ways you can download it, as well as subscribe to it. It's on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, Pocket Casts, Stitcher, etc., etc. So check it out, the Insurgents Podcast, and if you enjoy it, please pass it on to your friends. One last thing. I want to remind you that the Christ is All podcast, which was my first podcast that I launched in 2009, has over 120 episodes on it. The episodes are an eclectic mix of conference messages, interviews, monologues, comical episodes, chapters from books, etc. So if you're a podcast binger and you haven't heard all the episodes on the Christ is All podcast, check it out. You can download that from iTunes, Podbean, and anywhere else. And then finally, there is the Deeper Journey podcast, which contains 3-minute episodes that all build on one another that give a nice introduction to the gospel of the kingdom. So there you have it, 3 podcasts, Christ is All, the Deeper Journey, and the new one, the Insurgents Podcast. I may have another partner in the future for the Insurgents Podcast. We don't know. Too early to tell. But at the time of this recording, there are 2 different conversation partners for the podcast, and I think you'll love them both. Theinsurgents.net. Check it out. Take care.